Hello, and welcome to the North Coast Journal Preview. This is a show where we take a look at what's coming in this week's edition of the North Coast Journal. I am your host, Tanya Shrum, and we are joined by North Coast Journal's managing editor, Jennifer Fumiko Cahill. Welcome.
Hello, Tanya.
How are you doing?
I am doing okay. I am glad to have you back. Not that I didn't enjoy my time with Matt.
Absolutely, but I will say going to Davis was lovely, but always nice to come home.
To a reasonable climate.
An absolutely reasonable. I will say I was incredibly lucky that I was there during a rainy spell in Davis, so I got lovely weather. I brought my weather with me and took it home with me as well.
Yeah. Do you feel like when you come back from south, do you feel like you de-age as you pass like Garberville?
Pretty much.
You feel like the moisture coming back? You feel like...
We get somewhere, I always stop in Piercy at the old Reggae on the River site and run my dog to the river, as long as it's not hot or green algae time of year. But we were doing that, and I was like, oh, home. That's always get to that Richardson's Grove, and I'm home.
Yeah, I'm not even originally from here, but driving up to Humboldt again feels like I'm a cigar being put back in the humidor where I belong.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's always really when you come into that, the River Valley in Scotia, that's when you really, like, the temperature drops 10 degrees and you're like, oh, life is worth living again.
We're such babies.
It's true. It's true. But we have other things that make it feel like home, and this is one of the special weeks that do that.
Yes, and I should say, like I always say, we go to press on Tuesday, and Tuesday was a wild ride for those of us living in America, and so it is not lost on me, the irony of working on Taco Week this week. But here we are. We've got if you haven't been around for Taco Week, or if you haven't known about Taco Week, it's like Burger Week, but tacos. And we are going to get into the controversy of Taco Week, by the way. But essentially, we are boosting, it is a marketing program from our marketing people here at the Journal, and it boosts local businesses that want to do a limited time taco item. I say taco because we are using the term loosely and getting creative with it. And 11 different businesses around the county all have La Tacos, and they run the gamut. So the controversy I want to talk to you about, Tanya.
Are we talking Choco Taco controversy?
Oh, we're definitely talking Choco Taco,
okay.
Or not a Choco Taco, but that which constitutes the taco. Does it have to be a tortilla? Does it have to be a corn tortilla? Does it have to be savory?
Can it still be a taco coming from an Irish pub?
Can it?
I think it can.
In fact... By the way, did I go down a rabbit hole with our production manager, Holly Harvey, yesterday to research the Patricios, I think was the name, a unit of mostly Irish people who fought on the Mexican side of the Mexican-American War because they were also Catholic. That is a taco in the making. History taco. So among the tacos that are happening, yes, there is a taco coming from an Irish pub. Surprise. Gallagher's has one that involves a fish taco situation because they are famous for their fish and chips. That feels like a gimme. That feels like, okay, that's the natural move, right? Over at the Murphy's Markets, we have a little more far out on a limb. That is the banh mi taco, which is already... We've declared it as a banh mi taco taking the fillings inspired by a banh mi Vietnamese sandwich. And it's not even on a tortilla. Friends, it's on a piece of naan bread. Is it still a taco?
Uh, I I think that if you're gonna, it's kind of like, we're in that same place as the hot dog a sandwich. Like I think we're in that same vein.
And then the somewhat unfortunately named food taco, which is the pupusa taco over at Pupuseria San Miguel, which is delicious, is a pupusa with carne asada on top of it and onions and cilantro. So, is that a taco?
I say line judge says yes right there.
And then we get to living the dream, bringing back the ever popular and listen, manufactured scarcity. It's available only Thursday to Sunday, April 16th to 19th. And if you are in line, I will push you down to take your place. Living the Dream has a not a Choco Taco because we're not trying to get trademark sued, but we are bringing back something that was taken away from us too soon. Freshly made waffle cone waffle thing makes the crispy outside, filled with ice cream, dipped in chocolate, covered with nuts. It's definitely taco shaped. Is it a taco?
Hey, I defy anybody that loves the Choco Taco not to also love the not Choco Taco.
That's true. I honestly think the not Choco Taco is going to be better because it is a homemade style ice cream, technically a frozen custard. But it's at gelato temperature. Not everybody who does a custard style ice cream keeps it at gelato temperature, which is a little bit softer than a hard pack ice cream typically is. And that's why when your first bite of a Living the Dream ice cream cone like spreads the flavor on your tongue, the fat melts. I could go on. And I did. I wrote about them. I spent a lot of time talking about ice cream temperature. But I mean, it's a better product. It just is. There are a number of tacos that are kind of on our must-have list. The one that I am excited about, aside from the Choco one, is surprise. Familia has like a breakfast one that just looks really nice and is made with a locally grown masa, which is exciting to me. It is I'm going to say this wrong, Akili Metzli Cooperative makes a blue corn masa that they use to make this, and it's got like sofrito beans, eggs, chorizo, queso fresco, pico de gallo. I mean, I'm sold. Salsa, hot sauce, avocado. I'm in.
Oh, so good.
Pickled onions. A pickled onion. What won't you at least try that has a pickled onion? Come on. So anyway, that is happening this week.
I'm once again going to the eatery because they again have another delicious fish taco.
Yeah, you know what? The eatery does show up and show up big for all of these things. This one has the grilled corn tortilla, chipotle aioli, house slaw, which I do like their slaw, by the way. Indeed. More pickled red onions.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, okay, but here's the thing. It comes with, it's the fish taco, and you know it's going to be because they do tons of seafood. So the fish taco is going to be it. It comes with a fried, seasoned whole jalapeno. Do I have the stuff? Maybe not.
I'm gonna have to see how the upper esophagus is doing that.
Yeah. I may take the coward's way out on that one and just pass it on to one of my children or something like
yeah,
that.
somebody that can eat spice. It's a darn shame getting old.
It really is. It really is. But anyway, all that is in the pullout this week, and we enjoy it mostly because, we love to hype our local restaurants, and it's a really good way for them to sort of come together and jointly sort of create an event that is fun and exciting, and it's an excuse to go out. Nothing is terribly expensive. I know it's hard to go out these days, so things are generally under $20 for, a really fun experiential meal. So enjoy.
Yep, and we have all this taco pride. We're going to move into other pride in our community.
I see what you did there.
Haha,
So
practicing segues every week.
I am always excited when a new baby bird is born in our newsroom, and that is that we have a new freelancer, and that is Mia Costales. And she is somebody that you can actually see if you are a person who's at Cal Poly Humboldt and you're picking up the Lumberjack and Elenudor, etc. She is a journalism major over there at CPH, and she's the news editor at Elenudor, and she's great. She did this great story for us on the California Big Time. I have been here not long enough to have known about the previous iterations. Apparently, Cal Poly Humboldt used to do what they called a powwow. Oh, you remember?
I
Okay.
was at 1999's powwow. I still have the
Wow.
t-shirt.
Are you telling me that you powwowed like it was 1999?
Indeed.
Amazing. So there was a hiatus for a few years. And so Mia interviewed, among other people, the ITEP coordinator, Sasheen Raymond. ITEP, by the way, is a group on campus, the Indian Tribal and Educational Personnel Program. And you hear about ITEP here and there anytime there's a big event where the university and Native students are working on something. So the ITEP coordinator was saying that she's been doing this since 2008. And 2008 is the year they had a comeback after a 4-year hiatus. When they used to do the powwow, it was a big gathering, but it's not technically what Native people here do. You know, we tend to sometimes weirdly assign a monolithic idea of what Native culture is, which is bananas. And what California Native tribes do is a big time, and that is what they wanted to do. So at one point, she was saying to honor the culture of California natives, we decided to host a big time because that's what California natives do. We see this as a cultural sharing and opportunity to really honor the first peoples of California. So there were some things that Mia could not photograph because they are practices that are not meant to be photographed and shared. And there are some things that are demonstrations that she could photograph, and she was wonderfully mindful of that and talked to organizers about all that stuff going in. There were tons of vendors, and what's interesting about that too is, you really see the way in which Native people are producing culture now. We are not always used to seeing Native culture as being represented in popular culture as something happening now, but it is happening now. And people were selling books, people were selling art, people were selling food. If you are, by the way, ever in the presence of the Fry Bread Love truck, first of all, count your blessings. Second of all, go load up because it's so good. And it used to be that you would have to go get Indian tacos only at these events, but sometimes the Fry Bread Love truck is around, and cutting up an Indian taco into little bite-sized pieces is the smartest thing anyone ever did. This is the kind of ingenuity that puts us on the moon. So it was a very interesting event. There were lots of family services groups. There was the Two Feathers Native American Family Services, Cal Poly Humboldt's Rue Dalger Food Sovereignty Lab, which we've written about before in the paper, and same thing with Two Feathers. I urge you, if you missed those stories, go back and read about them because they're really cool programs, and they do a lot for the community in general, but particularly through the Native community. It is really interesting to me to see the way that these kinds of events are part of the passing down of culture. And so there was an interesting part where Mia interviewed a gentleman named Douglas Duncan, who is a member of the Round Valley Feather Dancers who came and performed. And he said, today I told the people out here, don't be embarrassed, because can you imagine being a young person? You have to dance in front of a bunch of people. Lord, save me from the self-consciousness of the young. He
I
said, don't
mean,
be
you're my
embarrassed.
age. We all had to square dance in elementary school. That was bad
He's,
enough.
I have asked you not to bring that up.
So
So,
sorry.
but this is like this valuable, important cultural practice. And he says, I'm still doing it. Come out and show your pride. And that's what it's all about. It gives to the children. It gives them something to grow up and see and appreciate. The ones that are here, that are running around and playing and stuff, they're going to remember this. And that's really something, right? You are creating a memory of cultural practice and of cultural pride and remembering this is our place. We belong here. This is our forever history, and seeing it as part of a thing that is still alive, which again, very weird that we keep on representing Native culture as being a past tense thing. So it was really interesting to read about, and I hope that everybody gets a chance to check it out. And thank you, Mia, for getting on board with us.
Yes, thank you so much. And I encourage everybody to pick up this week's North Coast Journal and read the entire article from our new journalist.
Right? It's exciting.
Well, and so we're going to shift over to a returning character that brings us all the amazing getting out there in the theater, and that's Tigger Bouncer.
Listen, Tigger Bouncer Custodio is like actually the returning character, right? Like the returning character in the series of the North Coast Journal, Tigger literally bounces in and brings us reviews. And what I always enjoy, I always say about our writers about theater, is that they genuinely love theater. They have an inside knowledge of it. These are not people who have just sat back and been critics all their lives. They are people who participate and love and feel the joys, successes, failures, and heartbreak of theater on their own. So they get all this. And this week, Tigger was out here run off his feet because he covered 2 shows in 2 days.
That connect.
They
don't, but they do.
They do, because one was Bat Boy the Musical, and the other one was Sherwood, The Adventures of Robin Hood. And so for, the 2 people who actually look at the teasers on the front of the paper, Bat Boy and Robin, anything? I'm so ashamed. So
I don't care. I will continue to laugh. I think it's great. Thank you, Jennifer, for bringing joy into all of our lives.
Bless you, 2 people who read the teasers on the front. So the headline for Bat Boys, Bloody Messy Fun. And trigger warning, or should we say Tigger warning. He begins the review, "Let there be blood." And it's not that Bat Boy's a gusher. You don't have to go in a rain poncho if you're in the splash zone. It's not that. But it is about gore, right? So the crazy story. Are you familiar with the Bat Boy story?
I am. And I'm like, I'm pleased that we're using blood. There's no like crinkly red glitter and streamers. No, we're going for real here.
Yeah, that's fine for opera.
Right.
But we're a musical over here. So the story, which is a Weekly World News story, if you grew up watching, sitting in the shopping cart while your mom pushed it by or whatever, or, waiting in the aisles and seeing the Weekly World News up every week, had crazy stories about like werewolves and aliens and Elvis and Bat Boy. So in this story, Bat Boy, played by Peter Nielsen, is found in a cave by a spelunker named Rick, who is played by Joseph Carter, and friend Ron, Simon Finley, and Ruthie, Hayden Hilscher. And Ruthie gets bit. You mess with the Bat Boy, you get the fangs. And from there, drama ensues. And what do you do when you find a Bat Boy in the caves? I don't know, maybe you try and figure out how to incorporate him into your community. Or maybe you try to figure out if he's the one draining all the cows. Yeah, so it is a musical. It's crazy. It's all over the place. Probably intentionally. Michael Fields, who is the director of this production, taglined it "Messy Theater for Messy Times." And it delivers because, as Tigger points out, there are parts of it that are soap opera, horror, melodrama, comedy, fantasy, realism, absurdist, sci-fi, and of course, musical. So it's a wild ride, and he recommends you give it a try. There's lots of great performances. There are people, just lovely, talented people doing excellent work, and it sounds like a wild one. I haven't seen it yet, but it sounds like a wild and good time. But it's not the only good time to be had this weekend. I know, because over on the other end of the county, over on in Ferndale, at Ferndale Rep, it's Men in Tights, Tanya.
It is.
Well, not really Men in Tights. much to Tigger's chagrin. He's like, I would have liked to have seen Tights.
Yeah.
Wouldn't we all? So just, for the Mel Brooks of it all.
Right.
But the cool thing, one of the cool things about this performance,
other Robin Hoods.
unlike other Robin Hoods you've seen, this is no Kevin Costner affair. I want you all to know. This is a little bit Rocky Horror in that the audience is invited to be rowdy, be fun, to dress up. Yeah, that's right. Find your Ren Fair outfit that you thought you would only wear once.
Get your tights on.
Get your tights on. Lead by example. Be the merry man you want to see in the world. And you can show up fully clad. He referred to it as being huzzah and tally-ho inclusive. And so you can go and have a great time, boo and hiss at the villain. Like, it's fun. And director Tyler Eggerer, as he points out, says he avoids the trap of making it too much like a children's theater situation. And he said that it still has its goofiness and lightheartedness, and I think that only Tigger could articulate this for me. It's more Muppet movie and less Sesame Street. See what I mean?
Yeah. That's a great description.
Right? And so there's all kinds of wonderful characters in it, some beautiful, powerful singers. At one point, Jay Templeton, who is Sir Guy of Gisborne, who is apparently hilarious and great as a villain, and the audience hisses. I love it. If only I could make such an entrance. And all kinds of good hammy fun. There's parrying. It's great. Have a good time and be a kid again.
And support our local theater. There's
absolutely
better time than live music or live theater.
So true.
All right. Well, it looks like that wraps up our time for this week. Get out there and enjoy our area. The current edition of the North Coast Journal is available on newsstands tomorrow. You can also always find it online with the calendar so you know what you're going to get into for the week at northcoastjournal.com. I am Tanya Schrum. Thanks for all the contributors. Thanks to Jennifer. And thank you for being with us and staying informed and supportive of our North Coast community.